Hello, good afternoon. This is Comrade Funton Daniel, and I just want to thank all of you for watching this choreography that is a special signature of the Ambazonians. For you who may not be familiar with Ambazonians, this is a special choreography, and it requires some skills to be able to practice to demonstrate this particular dancing skills. And this, I just want to appreciate all of you that are watching this afternoon, and thank you. Uh, I'm sure you are enjoying the choreography of the Ambazonian demonstrations. It is a special skill for you to be able to pick up those choreography. So this is Comrade Funton Daniel here in the great state of Texas, here in the United States. Good afternoon again. This is Comrade Fontam Daniel. I want to take a moment to appreciate all of you that are tuning in live in these editions of broadcast take a moment to appreciate all of you that are tuning in live in this edition. Let's look at a moment. Let's take a moment and look. Let's listen. It is not something that the people of Southern Cameroon are making an on-request gesture. It is a reality that the people of Southern Cameroon were deprived of their right of existence. Let me read the United Nations document, which is very, very crucial. Now, let's listen. This is the United Nations. I am not the author, neither someone, but it is the United Nations author that wrote this. And now those are the two members of the United Nations. You have the United Nations Secretary General, and then you have U.S. representative to the United Nations. And that is why it is very important that when I read this, you understand what I am referring to. The United Nations invites the administering authority, the government of Southern Cameroon, and the Republic of Cameroon to initiate an urgent discussion with a view to finalize before October 1, 1961, arrangement by which they agree and declare policies and parties concerned will be implemented. This is a document from the United Nations requesting that the government of Southern Cameroon and the government of La Republique du Cameroun should initiate an urgent discussion to finalize for the two nations. And this discussion, which I am referring to, has never took place. In fact, the Southern Cameroon, by virtue of the United Nations document, it says the Southern Cameroon has similarly decided to achieve independence by joining the independent Republic of Cameroon. So an independent nation, the Southern Cameroon, and an independent country, La Republique du Cameroun, have decided. So how did it become that a Southern Cameroon territory now become a province in a foreign country? Does that make sense? In other words, a Southern Cameroon, an independent Southern Cameroon, now become a province in a foreign country, La Republique du Cameroun. That in terms violation Are you listening? Invites the administering authority, the government of Southern Cameroon, and the Republic of Cameroon initiate an urgent discussion with the view to finalize before October 1, 1961, the arrangement by which they agree and declare policies of the party concerned will be implemented. So now, let's look at which document or policy have La Republique and the people of Southern Cameroon have agreed upon as per this current dispensation. Of course, there is no document that specifically state that if La Republique has those documents, we will appreciate them to present those documents which finalized that the people of Southern Cameroon has agreed. Of course, when we talk about the so-called the Fumban talks or the Fumban discussion, there was never a discussion between the people of Southern Cameroon. And some people may talk about the 1972. In fact, the 1972 In fact, the 1972, there were two, the content of the vote, it says yes in English and we in French. So if you were a Southern Cameroon citizen voting in that particular elections, which voting card are you going to take? For example, if we talk about a reform, let me cite particularly example here in the state of Texas. If there is a reform or a propositions that they want to change, maybe road development or transportation here in the state of Texas, although it's not a United States, it's a state, not a United States. So if there is a proposition or a proposition that is implemented by, because the proposition of state of Texas is universally concerned the state of Texas. But if a proposition by U.S. Congress is universally applied to the entire United States. So in this case, if there was a proposition by the state of Texas vis-a-vis the government of the United States, so it will pass through a vote, and there should be an amendment or indication what is for and what is against. Those two propositions will be made known to the citizens. Whereas in La Republique, there was never such a document made available. And yet the people of Southern Cameroon had been constrained to stand and being glued by a foreign nation in violation of this very United Nations document. I invite the administrative authority, the government of Southern Cameroon. So if there was a government of Southern Cameroon, so where is the government now? So that government has been deprived, dismantled by La Republique du Cameroun, and implanted what they so-called their prime ministership that has nothing to do with the people of Southern Cameroon. So it is quite interesting and watching this destruction of the people of Southern Cameroon by a foreign country with complicity with France. Because of the mineral deposit in Southern Cameroon. That is the prerogative why France is so interested in Southern Cameroon, not because of the present economic development, but for their own self-egoistic interest to disrupt and destroy the property of Southern Cameroon through a forceful relationship that could never existed or never existed. So the people of Southern Cameroon are asking a valid question. How did the people of Southern Cameroon become a province in a foreign country, La Republique du Cameroun? And so many people making a stupid argument. They will welcome a federation. So what is a federation? The people of Southern Cameroon say, okay, let's live in a federal structure. The people of Southern Cameroon ask, let's live in a federal structure. And what they call the AAC1, initially, the AAC1, which all citizens of Southern Cameroon convey, make a draft memorandum. La Republique never take into consideration any of those conversations. Let me drift back again. Let me start first with SDF. Because before the coming of SDF, the problems has been boiling. Because when La Republique intentionally and independently abolished the so-called a federation, the so-called La Republique du Cameroon. Intentionally, in 1984, single individual signed a decree, convert La Republique back to its 1960 state status. So, if La Republique single-handedly signed a decree under his protege, President Paul Biya, convert the country or back to 1960, the Republic of Cameroon. It means, therefore, the people of Southern Cameroon, by default, no longer part of La Republique du Cameroun. It is quite essential how I see people blind, folded, and lack of significant judgment and think to reflect. What does that apply to? When a single individual, the protege of La Republique du Cameroun, by name Paul Biya, the current president, signed a decree, abolish, convert to a 1960 nation of La Republique du Cameroun. Therefore, the people of Southern Cameroon, by default, no longer be part of La Republique du Cameroun. That is the separation that already existed by the decree of 1984. So the people of Southern Cameroon has the choice to decide what do they have or what future hold for the people of Southern Cameroon. So the AAC1 meeting in Buea in a memorandum tendered to the regime in regard to the situation in Southern Cameroon, they were never taken into considerations. In the subsequent AAC2 that took place in Bamenda, the same regime never take into considerations. So, in fact, they have been ignored every proposition presented, suggested, recommended by the people of Southern Cameroon. La Republique never take into considerations. So, therefore, an outraged independent is the right for the people of Southern Cameroon. It's the right the people to decide. It's the right to move forward. I hope I'm making sense. I hope I'm making sense. Come on, get down and sit down. I hope I'm making sense. Let me emphasize again. Let me emphasize again. I said in 1984, strange behavior demonstrated by La Republique du Cameroun, in which the president, the current executive president of La Republique du Cameroun, single-handedly signed a decree, convert La Republique du Cameroun to 1960 name. That was the name presented by France, the administering authority. In fact, after the end of the Second World War, why this is important? After the end of the Second World War, it was decided that colonial territory be given the rightful independence. In other words, La Republique is a people and is a colonial territory, and by default, and is a member, and France is a member of the Allied forces, yield to the United Nations Resolution 1514 XV that the territory be given their rightful independence. And therefore, La Republique, under the auspices of its foreign colonial administrator, France, presented La Republique du Cameroun to the United Nations as an independent entity. In doing so, the people of Southern Cameroon wasn't part of that document. So the name presented by La Republique, by France to the United Nations General Assembly, present as the Republic of Cameroon. In other words, La Republique du Cameroun is the French version by France as they presented to the United Nations as an independent nation in support, or not in support, in compliance with the United Nations Resolution 1514 XV. The British, on the other hand, in 1961, comply with the United Nations Resolution 1514 XV, present the Southern Cameroon on a similar domain. But here is the failure, a systematic failure of the British regime, or the British government, in compliance with the United Nations Resolution XV, 1514 XV, which says that all those territories be given their rightful independence. Southern Cameroon met those criteria. The current population of Southern Cameroon is more than major countries in Europe. So why is it that the people of Southern Cameroon cannot have their independence? They must live under the umbrella of a foreign-controlled La Republique du Cameroun. In terms of economic prosperity, the argument presented, and that is what I call a poor judgment or poor argument presented by the British administering authority, that the people of Southern Cameroon does not meet the criteria of a sovereign nation. In fact, the very moment at the time La Republique du Cameroun has no, but La Republique du Cameroun, someone can not go to a bank in La Republique and have a 500,000 CFA from the bank. They have to travel to France to get an authorization to disburse that same amount. Whereas in Southern Cameroon, you can go to a bank and be able to have that amount disbursed within less than 3 hours. So which country was more economically stable? So Southern Cameroon was deprived of their independence in order to please its own fellow countrymen in Europe, France, rather than the interests of the indigenous people of Southern Cameroon. And that is why you find the people of Southern Cameroon live on this suffering. So if La Republique du Cameroun, that was presented at La Republique du Cameroun, and in 1984, a single individual on the auspices of the president of La Republique du Cameroun signed a decree, revert the country back to the 1960 name that was presented to the United Nations by its very colonial masters. And therefore, by default, the Southern Cameroon no longer binding to the Republique du Cameroun. So it's simply saying that that country has returned back to where it was presented. And therefore, the people of Southern Cameroon should be able to live. Should be able to live. So therefore, in continuation of the people of Southern Cameroon as a separate entity, they have the choice to decide what is their own goal and objectives. And the goal of the Southern Cameroon and objectives is to fortify its own sovereign identity and remain an independent country. Because La Republique cannot indefinitely pull its name back to La Republique, previous name that was presented, and expect that the people of Southern Cameroon has been assimilated. So I hope I am making sense. I hope I am making sense. United Nations Resolution 1608. United Nations Resolution 1608. XV, paragraph 5. Paragraph 5, that is very crucial. Paragraph 5, the government of Southern Cameroon should initiate an urgent discussion with the government of La Republique du Cameroun. And as of this moment, that negotiation, that discussion has not taken place, despite the fact that the people of Southern Cameroon has made every effort, every attempt, every moment to go into discussion with La Republique du Cameroun vis-à-vis the relationship that exists between the two sovereign entities, La Republique du Cameroun and the Southern Cameroon. That discussion has not taken place as of this moment. In fact, besides other subsequent deliberations, the AAC one is that of a particular interest because the sons and daughters of citizens of Southern Cameroon, including the former Prime Minister, Dr. John Gu Foncha, this, in fact, is the person of interest that negotiate this relationship. He personally was in Boya in the OAAC 1, in which he himself presented himself as the leader that is still a living soul. That the relationship, La Republique did not pay attention. Another subsequent meeting, the AAC 2 was meeting in Northwest, is in the North Zone. A similar memorandum was tabled. Some of the leaders were being driven out by a foreign government that has no legal authority over the people of Southern Cameroon. because they want to decide what is best for the interest of its citizens, for its people, vis-a-vis La Republique du Cameroon. But instead, they were chased out. And I think coming to the armed solution is the best option they have chosen, because every angle they have taken to speak with La Republique vis-a-vis a relationship to define. If someone gets married, they must define the terms of the relationship that exists. When the terms of the relationship is not or has not been fully debated, it's about to be crumbling. And so it has come to that point of crumbling, that the people of Southern Cameroon has chosen their rightful destiny. Leaving La Republique altogether is the right choice, is the right thing they have decided, and I expect the world community to support the people of Southern Cameroon for making that choice. I want to argue on the point of the United States. The United States, although I don't speak on the United States government, but the decisions that United States, that the leadership is fragmented, that is not a rightful decision to choose to ignore. The United States can say all citizens of Southern Cameroon should delegate someone, irrespective of their affiliation, existence, or whatever it is. I want to speak with them to know the choice. There are almost millions of people of Southern Cameroon that are here in the United States and elsewhere. United States can speak to any citizen of Southern Cameroon by asking that the citizens of Southern Cameroon should send a delegation to meet and speak with the United States as a precursor moving forward on the contingent of policy that will affect the people of Southern Cameroon. United States cannot say it's because of the fragmented that they cannot talk to anyone. The people of Southern Cameroon watch every policy the United States stand for. Democratic institution, policy, open governance, freedom, and that is has been the habit of the United States. So therefore, United States can. It's not the fact that because they're fragmented that the United States cannot delegate someone to speak. Since the crisis began, United States should make every effort and sit with the people of Southern Cameroon, make a delegation, sit with them, talk with them, and understand where do they go from here. Ignoring that because there is no leadership, it's not an effective way in a crisis situation. The people of Southern Cameroon has demonstrated they may have some fragmented leadership or scam, but yet the common goal and objective for each of the fragmented is freedom. Freedom, liberty, and the able to pursue happiness. And this is not from the Southern Cameroon. This is the United States document. Pursuit of happiness is for everyone in the world. And the people of Southern Cameroon is not an exception. If the United States was pursuit of happiness by fighting for freedom and liberty, then they know the end goal, that it is everyone's interest to have those times of freedom and happiness. So United States is strong enough and have a courtesy to invite all citizens of Southern Cameroon, wherever they are, and have a conversation, an open, honest conversation. What is the choice they want for the vis-a-vis the people of Southern Cameroon. And the United States will have a better solution. Instead of ignoring because of fragmented, it's not the right choice the United States can do. United States can do better. Now, let's look at the current structure. La Republique utilized what they so-called the Prime Minister. That is a figurehead. He absolutely has zero power. He has no functionality because the rule of the game is not defined. So La Republique picks someone and dump it somewhere, the so-called the Prime Minister, that basically has no voice. When the people decide who should be the leader, the people go to the poll and vote and choose who is the leader. And that has been the fundamental principles of the Anglo-Saxon way of life. We have never developed that habit where someone appoints someone to lead us, because they have the colonial tendency that if elect someone will not be in accordance with their own agreement, because they have to glue and suppress. We have dealt with it for the past of 60 years, and we have come to the conclusion that enough is enough, and the people of Southern Cameroon are ready to move forward with their sovereign identity. We don't believe in this format where an individual will appoint a governor for 20 years to rule and glue on the people, use military, suppress, shoot at will, because the people has no remorse towards the people whom they believe they derive their governance. We are totally adamantly opposed, and the option of bringing arms was the right choice that people have decided, and it is the best interest of the common good of the people of Southern Cameroon. So it is very important, very crucial, that United States look at the people of Southern Cameroon globally, not just because of their population, their size, their well-being, but because it is strategically important within the community. France, the masterminded in country that prevent every aspect of Southern Cameroon to have any breathing oxygen. First, the OAU is controlled by a French-born French citizens, and that is why he was able to decide who should be a representative at the United Nations, because someone there was an outspoken. The United Nations representative, both in West Africa, are all francophone, because France is particularly interested on who should be a representative. How can we, Africa, not grow out of our own egoistic mind and be a free thinker and judge the reality? I think it is the moment that Africa needs to get out of its comfort zone and stand and speak on behalf of Africa globally. And this is Comrade Funtal Daniel speaking live from the great state of Texas here in the United States. I wish you all a happy evening.